Chapter 2 Remembrance of Lord Krishna. Text 1 Shri Shuka Uvacha Iti Bhagavata Prishta Shatra Vartam Priyashrayam Prativaktum na Chotseha Outkantyat Smariteshwaraha.
Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, when the great devotee Uddhava was asked by Vidura to speak on the messages of the dearest, Lord Krishna, Uddhava was unable to answer immediately due to excessive anxiety at the remembrance of the Lord.
Yaha Panchahayano Matra Pratar Ashaya Yachitaha Tannaichhat Rachayan Yasya Saparyam
He was the one who, even in his childhood, at the age of 5 years,
We
was
can't
so
hear you.
absorbed in... Oh, can you hear me, Mataji?
Yes, now we can.
Okay, thank you. He was one who, even in his childhood, at the age of 5 years, was so absorbed in the service of Lord Krishna that when he was called by his mother for morning breakfast, he did not wish to have it.
Sa katham sevaya tasya कालेन जरसङ्गतः पृष्ठो वार्तां प्रति ब्रूयात् भर्तुपादावनुस्मरन्.
Uddhava thus served the Lord continually from childhood, and in his old age that attitude of service never slackened. As soon as he was asked about the message of the Lord, he at once remembered all about him.
समुहूर्तम् अभूत् तुष्णीं कृष्णाङ्घ्रिसुधया वृषं तीव्रेण भक्तियोगेन निमग्न साधु निर्वतः.
For a moment he remained dead silent, and his body did not move. He became absorbed in the nectar of remembering the Lord's lotus feet in devotional ecstasy, and he appeared to be going increasingly deeper into that ecstasy.
पुलकोद्भिन्न सर्वाङ्गो मुञ्चन्मीलदृशा शुचः पूर्णार्थो लक्षितस्तेन स्नेह प्रसरसम्प्लुतः.
It was so observed by Vidura that Uddhava had all the transcendental bodily changes due to total ecstasy, and he was trying to wipe away tears of separation from his eyes. Thus, Vidura could understand that Uddhava had completely assimilated extensive love for the Lord.
क्षणकैर्भगवल्लोकान् नृलोकं पुनरागतः विमृज्य नेत्रे विदुरं प्रियाहोद्धवस्व उत्स्मयन्.
The great devotee Uddhava soon came back from the abode of the Lord to the human plane, and wiping his eyes, he awakened his reminiscence of the past and spoke to Vidura in a pleasing mood.
उद्धव उवाच कृष्णद्युमणिनिं लोचे गेणेष्व अजगरेणः किं नुनः कुशलं ब्रूयां गतश्रीषु गृहेष्वहम्.
Sri Uddhava said, my dear Vidura, the son of the world, Lord Krishna, has set, and our house has now been swallowed by the great snake of time. What can I say to you about our welfare?
दुर्भगो बत लोकोऽयं यादवो नितरामपि ये संवसन्तो न विदुर् हरिं मीना इवोडुपम्.
This universe, with all its planets, is most fortunate, and even more fortunate are the members of the Yadu dynasty, because they could not identify Lord Hari as the personality of Godhead, any more than the fish could identify the moon.
इङ्गितज्ञा कुरु प्रौधा एका रामश्च सात्वताः सात्वतां वृषभं सर्वे भूतावासम् अमं सत.
The others were all experienced devotees, learned and expert in psychic study. Over and above this, They were always with the Lord in all kinds of relaxations, and still they were only able to know him as the one supreme who dwells everywhere.
देवस्य मायया स्पृष्टा ये चान्यदसदाश्रिताः भ्राम्यते धीर्न तद्वाक्यैर् आत्मनियुक्तात्मनो हरौ.
Under no circumstances can the words of persons bewildered by the illusionary energy of the Lord deviate the intelligence of those who are completely surrendered.
प्रदर्शयात्तपत्त तपसाम् आवृतृप्तदृशां नृणाम् आदायान्तर अधाद्यस्तु स्वबिम्बं लोकलोचनम्.
Lord Sri Krishna, who manifested his eternal form before the vision of all on the earth, performed his disappearance by removing his form from the sight of those who were unable to see him as he is, due to not executing required penance.
यन्मर्त्यलीलौपैकं स्वयोग मायाबलं दर्शयता गृहीतं विस्मापनं स्वस्य च सौभगर्धेः परं पदं भूषणभूषणाङ्गम्.
The Lord appeared in the mortal world by his internal potency, Yogamaya. He came in his eternal form, which is just suitable for his pastimes. These pastimes were wonderful for everyone, even for those proud of their own opulence, including the Lord himself in his form as the Lord of Vaikuntha. Thus his, Sri Krishna's transcendental body, is the ornament of all ornaments.
यद्धर्मसूनोर्वतराजसूये निरीक्षया दृक् स्वस्त्ययनं त्रिलोकः कात्स्येन चाद्येह गतं विधातुर् आर्वाक्श्रितौ कौशलम् इति अमन्यत.
All the demigods from the upper, lower, and middle universal planetary systems assembled at the altar of the Rajasuya sacrifice performed by Maharaja Yudhishthira. After seeing the beautiful bodily features of Lord Krishna, they all contemplated that he was the ultimate, dexterous creation of Brahma, the creator.
यस्यानुरागप्लुतः सरास लीलावलोक प्रतिलब्धमानः व्रजस्त्रियो दृग्भिरनुप्रवृत्ता धियो वतस्तु किल कृत्यशेषः.
The damsels of Raja, after pastimes of laughter, humor, and exchanges of glances, were anguished when Krishna left them. They used to follow him with their eyes, and thus they sat down with stunned intelligence and could not finish their household duties.
स्वशान्तरूपेष्व इतरैः स्वरूपैर् अभ्यार्द्यमानेष्व अनुकम्पितात्मा परावरेशो महदंशयुक्तो यजोऽपि जातो भगवान् यथाग्निः.
The personality of Godhead, the all-compassionate controller of both the spiritual and material creations, is unborn, but when there is friction between his peaceful devotees and persons who are in the material modes of nature, he takes birth just like fire, accompanied by the Mahatattva.
मां खेदयत्येद अजस्य जन्म विडम्बनं यद्वासुदेवगेहे व्रजे स वासोरिभयाद् इव स्वयं पुराद्व्यतासीद् यद् अनन्तवीर्यः.
Please could you scroll up, Mataji? Thank you. When I think of Lord Krishna, how he was born in the prison house of Vasudeva, although he is unborn, how he went away from his father's protection to Raja and lived there incognito out of fear of the enemy, and how, although unlimitedly powerful, he fled from Mathura in fear. All these bewildering incidents give me distress.
दुनोति चेतः स्मरतो ममैतद् यदाह पादावभिवन्द्य पित्रोः तताम्बकं साद उरुसङ्कीर्तानां प्रसीदतं नो कृतनिष्कृतेनाम्।
Lord Krishna begged pardon from his parents for their Krishna and Balaram's inability to serve their feet due to being away from home because of great fear of Kamsa. He said, "O mother, O father, please excuse us for this inability. All this behavior of the Lord gives me pain."
को वा अमुष्याङ्घ्रि सरोजरेणु विस्मर्तुमीशितपुमान् विजिघ्रन् यो विस्फुरद्ब्रुवितपेन भूमेर्भारं कृताङ्नेन तेन तिरश्चकारा।
Who, after smelling the dust of his lotus feet even once, could ever forget it? Simply by expanding the leaves of his eyebrows, Krishna has given the death blow to those who were burdening the earth.
दृष्टा भवद्भिर्ननु राजसूये चैद्यस्य कृष्णं द्विषतोऽपि सिद्धिः यां योगिनः स्पृहयन्ति सम्यक् योगेन कस्तद् विरहं सहेता।
You have personally seen how the king of Chedi, Sisupala, achieved success in yoga practice, although he hated Lord Krishna. Even the actual yogis aspire after such success with great interest by performance of their various practices. Who can tolerate separation?
तथैव चान्ये नरलोकवीरा य आहवे कृष्णमुखारविन्दम् नेत्रैः पिबन्तो नयनाभिरामम् पार्थास्त्रपूतः पदमापुरस्य।
Certainly others, who were fighters on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, were purified by the onslaught of Arjuna's arrows, and while seeing the lotus-like face of Krishna, so pleasing to the eyes, they achieved the abode of the Lord.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Devi Gaurangi Mataji and Urpita Mataji. Very beautiful and divine recitations. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we shall move into Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so before we enter into Srimad Bhagavatam, we shall offer prayers to our Gurus and Krishna and all the Vaishnavas. अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांशं श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश। हे कृष्ण करुणसिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिविकासस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं, देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृणुतां स्वकथाः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः, हृद्यन्तस्तो भद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृसतां। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया, भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। एते चां सकलाः पुंसः कृष्णस्तु भगवान् स्वयम्, इन्द्रारिव्याकुलं लोकं मृडयन्ति युगे युगे। इदं भागवतं नाम पुराणं ब्रह्मसंहितम्, उत्तमश्लोकचरितं चकार भगवान् ऋषिः, निःश्रेयसाय लोकसधन्यं स्वस्ते नमः। कृष्णे स्वदामोपगते धर्मज्ञानादिभिः सह, खलु न शुश्रामेष पुराणार्को अधुनोदितः। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च, नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने, नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रये। अथ विश्वेश विश्वात्मन् विश्वमूर्ते स्वकेषु मे, स्नेहपाशमिमं चिन्निदृढं पाण्डुषु विष्णुषु, त्वयि मेनन्यविषया मतिर्मधुपते सकृत्, रतिमुद्वाहत गङ्गेव बहुदन्वति। श्रीकृष्ण कृष्ण सखा विष्णु ऋषभावनिधृ राजन्योंशदहनानपवर्गवीर्य, गोविन्द गोद्विजसुरात्य हरावतार, योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते, योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते, योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते। तुलयामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं, भगवत्सङ्गीसङ्गस्य मत्येनं किमुताशशः। पुनश्च भूयाद् भगवत्यनन्ते रतिः प्रसङ्गश तदाश्रयेषु, महत्त्वयां यमुप्यां सृष्टिं मैत्रस्तु सर्वत्र नमो द्विजेभ्यः। ॐ नमो भगवते राधा गोविन्दाय नमः। हरे कृष्ण। Okay, thank you so much all the devotees for kindly joining this evening to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So I shall share my screen. We are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, chapter 2, and verse number 15. So this chapter is remembrance of Krishna. Okay, so in this chapter, so whenever Vidura, he met Uddhava in the banks of Yamuna river. So there, as soon as he meets, so we shall just go into just overview what are conversations between Vidura and Uddhava. So, whenever Vidura inquired from Uddhava about Krishna and Krishna's family and everyone else, then Uddhava started speaking about Krishna's. My dear Vidura, the son of all, the Lord Krishna has set, and our house has now been swallowed by great snake of time. What can I say to you about our welfare? And then this universe with all its planets is most fortunate, and even more fortunate are the members of the Yadu dynasty, because they could not identify Lord Hari as the Supreme Personality of Godhead any more than the fish could identify the moon. And then further, the Yadus were all experienced devotees, learned and expert in psychic study. Over and above this, they were always with the Lord in all kinds of relaxations. And still, they were only able to know him as the one supreme who dwells everywhere. Under no circumstances can the words of persons bewildered by the illusory energy of the Lord deviate the intelligence of those who are completely surrendered souls. And the Lord Sri Krishna, who manifested his eternal form before the vision of all on the earth, performed his disappearance by removing his form from the sight of those who are unable to see him, as he is due to not executing required penance. And then the Lord appeared in the mortal world by his internal potency, Yoga Maya. He came in eternal form, which is just suitable for his pastimes. These pastimes were wonderful for everyone, even for those proud of their own opulence, including the Lord himself, in his form as the Lord of Vaikuntha. Thus, his Sri Krishna's transcendental body is the ornament of all ornaments. And all the demigods from the upper, lower, and middle universal planet systems assembled at the altar of the Rajasuya sacrifice performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira. After seeing the beautiful bodily features of Lord Krishna, they all contemplated that he was the ultimate dexterous creation of Brahma, the creator of human beings. And the damsels of Raja, after pastimes of laughter, humor, and exchanges of glances, were anguished when Krishna left them. They used to follow him with their eyes, and thus they sat down with stunned intelligence and could not finish their household duties. So likewise, here Uddhava is remembering all the pastimes of Krishna. So he was stunned for a moment whenever Vidura asked, and then actually Uddhava, he went to Bhagwan Lokat. So there in the beginning he mentioned, and then he returned back, and then coming to the material world again. And then started speaking to Vidura, and at the time he is remembering all these pastimes. Okay, so likewise, so today we are going to enter into, so today Uddhava is remembering about the, um, even though Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, he doesn't have any, his birth or disappearance, he's always in his own spiritual body, but still, so when he appears, so he appears just like a fire accompanied by Mahatattva. And he is the Lord of spiritual and material creations. So likewise, Uddhava is saying to Vidura. So we shall recite this verse and enter into the purport. स्वशान्तरूपेषु इतरैः स्वरूपैः अभ्यज्यमानेषु अनुकम्पितात्मा परावरेषु महदांशयुक्तो ह्यजोऽपि जातो भगवान् यथाग्निः सुशान्तरूपेषु इतरैः स्वरूपैः स्वशान्तरूपेषु Shantarupeshu, unto the peaceful devotees of the Lord. Swashantarupeshu, itaraihi, others who are the non-devotees. Itaraihi, swarupaihi, according to their own modes of nature. Everyone has got a different loving exchange relationship between the Lord and the individual living entity. Either it is a devotee or a non-devotee. So, Swashantarupeshu itaraihi swarupaihi abhyajamaneshu anukampitatma abhyajamaneshu, being harassed by abhyajamaneshu, and anukampitatma, the all compassionate Lord. So the Lord is anukampitatma, all compassionate Lord. Para avara ishaha, paravara ishaha. So this is spiritual and material world, and Isha is the controller, who is the Lord of spiritual and material world. And Mahat Amsha Yuktaha, accompanied by the plenary portions of the Mahat Tattva. Paravaresho Mahadamsha Yukto, Hejopi Jato Bhagwan Yatagnihi. And he certainly Ajaha, the Lord is unborn. Even though Ajopi Jataha, he is born, Bhagavan, is the Godhead, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yatagnihi, as if Agnihi, the fire. So likewise, the Lord is the Lord of spiritual and material worlds and controller, and He appears to the devotees according to their ye yatamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. So likewise, स्वशान्तरूपेषु इतरैः स्वरूपैः अभ्यद्यमानेषु अनुकम्पितात्मा परावरेषु महदांशयुक्तो ह्यजोऽपि जातो भगवान् यथाग्निः. The translation for this verse: the personality of Godhead, the all-compassionate controller of both the spiritual and material creations, is unborn, but when there is friction between his peaceful devotees and the persons who are in the material modes of nature, he takes birth just like a fire, accompanied by Mahatattva. And purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is high. So the devotees of the Lord are by nature peaceful because they have no material hankering. A liberated soul has no hankering, and therefore he has no lamentation. One who wants to possess also laments when he loses his possession. So devotees have no hankerings for material possessions and no hankerings for spiritual salvation. They are situated in the transcendent loving service of the Lord as a matter of duty, and they do not mind where they are or how they have to act. Karmis, jnanis, and yogis all hanker to possess some material or spiritual assets. Karmis want material possessions, jnanis and yogis want spiritual possessions, but devotees do not want any material or spiritual assets. They want only to serve the Lord anywhere in the material or spiritual worlds that the Lord desires, and the Lord is always specifically compassionate towards such devotees. The karmis, jnanis, and yogis have their particular mentalities in the modes of nature, and therefore they are called itara or non-devotees. These itaras, including even the yogis, sometimes harass the devotees of the Lord. Durvasa Muni, a great yogi, harassed Maharaja Ambarisha because the latter was a great devotee of the Lord, and the great Karmi and Jnani Hiranyakshipu even harassed his own Vaishnava son, Prahlad Maharaj. There are many instances of such harassment of the peaceful devotees of the Lord by the Itaras. When such friction takes place, the Lord, out of his great compassion towards his pure devotees, appears in person, accompanied by his plenary portions, controlling the Mahatattva. The Lord is everywhere, in both the material and spiritual domains. And he appears for the sake of his devotees when there is friction between his devotees and the non-devotee. As electricity is generated by friction of matter anywhere and everywhere, the Lord, being all pervading, appears because of the friction of devotees and non-devotees. When Lord Krishna appears on a mission, all his plenary portions accompany him. When he appeared as the son of Vasudeva, there were differences of opinion about his incarnation. Some said he is the supreme personality of Godhead, and some said he is an incarnation of Narayana, and others said he is the incarnation of Kshirodak Sai Vishnu. But actually, he is the original supreme personality of Godhead. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, and Narayana, the Purushas, and all other incarnations accompany him to function as different parts of his pastimes. Mahadamsha Yuktaha, so indicates that he is accompanied by the Purushas who create the Mahatattva. It is confirmed in the Vedic hymns, Mahantam Vibhum Atmanam. Lord Krishna appeared just like electricity when there was friction between Kamsa and Vasudeva and Ugrasena. Vasudeva and Ugrasena were the Lord's devotees, and Kamsa, a representative of Karmis and Jnanis, was a non-devotee. Krishna, as he is compared to the sun, he first appeared from the ocean of the womb of Devaki, and gradually he satisfied the inhabitants of the places surrounding Madura, just as the sun enlivens the lotus flower in the morning. After gradually rising to the meridian of Dwaraka, the Lord set like the sun, placing everything in darkness as described by Uddhava. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So here, Prabhupada is describing here the devotees of the Lord are by nature peaceful and they have no material hankering. They're always some qualities of the devotees are given. Titikshavaha, Karunikaha, Suhridaha, Sarvadehinam, Ajatasatravaha, Shantaha, Sadavaha, Sadhubhushanaha. These are the ornaments of the sadhus. They're always Titikshavaha, tolerant, and Karunikaha, very compassionate, and they do not have any enemies at all, and always peaceful, and the Suhridaha, always well-wishing to all the living entities. So these are all the ornaments of they do not hanker for anything. They are always Mai Ananya Bhavena, they are always Mai Ananya Bhavena, Kurvanti Bhakti, Te Dhudam, Matkrute Tyakta Karmanha, Tyakta Sojana Bandhavaha. So leaving everything, even their activities, they're always engaging in my devotional service. So Kapil Bhagavan says. So here the devotees or liberated soul has no hankering and therefore he has no lamentation. He doesn't have anything to achieve once he is in the devotional service. So he just wanted to engage in the devotional service of the Lord. So he doesn't have any lamentation. One who once possesses also laments when he loses his possession. यां यां मध्यम उपादत्ते दुःखेन सुखहेतवे तं तं धुनोति भगवान् तं तं धुनोति भगवान् पुमान् सोचति यत् कृते. Whenever a living entity, he works very hard. Yam yam madham upadatte. For what dukkena sukhahetave, he struggles very hard and he gains some possessions. And as soon as tam tam dhunoti bhagavan, once the Lord takes away in due course of time, then puman sochit yat krute, and then he laments for that, whatever he loses. But actually, nothing belongs to him, but it is everything, he is the bewilderment. Devotee have no hankerings for material possessions and no hankerings for spiritual salvation. They are situated in the transcendental loving service of the Lord as a matter of duty. And this is Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Ato Yeto Bhaktir Adhokshaje. So it is the eternal loving service of the Lord. Ahetukya Aprihada Ya Atma Suprasidati. Suprasidati. So he is always peaceful and he is well situated in because Ahaitukya Aprihada, there is no motivation and it is continuous service to the Lord. So where they are or how they have to act, and also they know all these things. They do not mind where they are or how they have to act. So they will get the knowledge, everything. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. So Lord gives the intelligence to them how to act based on time, place, and circumstances to execute the devotional service. And later on, Prabhupada is mentioning about karmis, jnanis, and yogis all hanker to the possess some material or spiritual assets. And karmis want material possessions, jnanis and yogis want spiritual possessions, but devotees do not want any material or spiritual assets. So here, again, when they are utilizing these assets, either material or spiritual assets, then only they will come to the proper position. So tapasvino danapara yasasvino manasvino mantravida sumangalaha kshemam na vinanti vina yadarpanam tasmai subhadrasravase namo namaha. So vina yadarpanam, if the karmis and jnanis, unless they offer their material and spiritual assets, yadarpanam, until that they do not get the tasmai subhadrasravase namo namaha, Sukadeva Goswami says. So here, but devotees do not want any material or spiritual assets because they understand Matsevaya Pritante Salokyadi Ketustayam. नेचयन्ति सेवया पूर्णाः कुतो अन्यत् कालविप्लुतम्. So nechayanti sevaya purnaha na ichanti. They do not want anything. What even they do not want salokyadi chatustayam. And that is the glories of mat sevaya prikante, the glories of the devotional service. And they do not want salokyadi chatustayam. What to speak of kuto anyat kal viplutam, whatever which is going to be temporary in this material world. That is the position of devotees. They do not anchor for either material or spirituality. They want only to serve the Lord. Matsevaya preditamte. That is, they want to serve the Lord anywhere in the material or spiritual worlds. That the Lord desires, and the Lord is always specifically compassionate towards the such devotees. This is that's why Lord, whenever there is a परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. The Lord appears to protect his devotees because they do not want anything. That's why they are always engaging in the service to please those devotees who are engaged in the devotional service. To please them, the Lord appears here. So here, like Vasudeva and Devaki, so they were being tortured by the Kamsa. So to please his father and mother, and of course it is the exist pre-planned. So in the Brahma Vaivarta Puran, it is if we see that one, Sri Krishna Janma Kanda. So the emergence of Krishna, there it explains everything is a properly planned. What is going to happen, who is taking to birth, in where, everything. But here actually it is to please his devotees. And then here the karmis, jnanis, and yogis have their particular mentalities in the modes of nature, and therefore they are called itara or non-devotees. So these itaras, including even the yogis, because they wanted to gain some kind of personal siddhis or some kind of, even the yogis sometimes harass the devotees of the Lord. This example of Durvasa Muni. Even for this small thing, Durvasa Muni got very angry. He just came under the influence of angry. And later, but here Maharaj Ambarisha, he has got all the good qualities. He's because he's a devotee of the Lord. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagvat akinchana tatraihi samai sarvaihi gunaihi tatra samasade suraha. They have got all the good qualities because just a simple devotee. That is Maharaj Ambarisha. So that's why he is the Dehopi Daivashagaha Kalukarma Yavat Swarambakam Prati Samikshata Eva Sasuhu, because he is always under the Dehopi Daivashagaha, under the control of Krishna. So Lord takes care of him. So here later on, Ambarisha Maharaj was protected by Sudarshan Chakra and chased Durvasa Muni throughout all the three planetary systems. Of course, even he went to the Vaikuntha planet as well. And finally, he returned back to Ambrish Maharaj to beg forgiveness. So the Lord says that my devotees always thinking of me, and I always thinking of my devotees. So I do not need anyone except my devotees. My devotees do not accept myself. So likewise, the Lord says, and then he asked Durvasa Muni to go back and ask forgiveness from Maharaj Ambrish. And then he was relieved from the pain that Sudarshan Chakra was chasing him. Finally, he was relieved. Okay, so that is the devotees more powerful. But here Maharaja's tolerance, it is very, very important. Sometimes devotees, even though they are very powerful, they do not counteract the opposite one. Tiriskrutaha vipralabdaha क्षिप्ताः शप्ताः हताव अपि नास्य तत् प्रतिकुर्वन्ति मद्भक्ताः प्रभोपिः. This Shemik Rishi says, the devotees of the Lord, they are very powerful, but still they do not nasya pratikurvanti, they do not counteract. So that is the devotees of the Lord. So here Parikshit, he did not counteract the Shringi boy's curse. But likewise, Ambarish also is not counteracting the Durvasa Muni. That is the devotee of the Lord. And the great Karmi and the Jnani, Hiranyakashipu even harassed his own Vaishnava son, Prahlad Maharaj. So here Prahlad Maharaj also did not counteract. This is the quality of the devotee. Because whoever is doing, here Brahma says to Lord Shankara, saying that if anyone, even though for speaking very harsh words, then Tan Mavadit Daivadan Bhavadvidaha, they are already under the punishments by divine. So we should not take any counteractive words towards the people who are speaking such kind of harsh words as well. And also he says, यस्मिन् यदा पुष्करनाभमाय धुरन्तया पृष्ठदेह पृथग्दृशः कुर्वन्ति तत्र हि अनुकम्पया कृपं न साधवो दैवबलात् कृते क्रमम्. A person devotee of the Lord, he never takes any action towards the opposite people who are offending, because he knows that they are under the influence of yasmin yada pushkarana bhamaya, they are bewildered, that's why they are acting like that. So knowing that, devotee does not take any further actions. Nasadavo daiva balad kuride kramam. And also sometimes materialistic people, they do not know, they speak because of the it is prarabdhayaha kriyadrusho durasayaha parodayena hridrujo anisham Paramdhrupte vidhanti arundhada tan mavadit daiv balad bhavadvidaha. Again, Brahma says this statement to Lord Shiva. When Lord Shiva punished all the demigods in the demigods and Bhrugu, Daksha and Bhaga Posa in the Daksha Yajna at the time, to pacify Lord Shiva, Brahma goes taking all the demigods to Lord Shiva, and then to pacify, glorifying Lord Shankara, and then he says these statements. So one should be tolerant enough. So here, these are the examples: Ambarish Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj. So these are our examples. So here, when such frictions take place, the Lord, out of his great compassion towards his pure devotees, appears in person, accompanied by his plenary portions controlling the Mahatattva. Okay, the Lord appears along with his all other incarnations. We would see that one as well. The Lord is everywhere in both the material and spiritual domains, and he appears for the sake of his devotees when there is friction between his devotee and the non-devotee. As electricity is generated by friction of matter anywhere and everywhere, the Lord, being all-pervading, appears because of the friction of devotees and non-devotees. And when the Lord Krishna appears on a mission, all his plenary portions accompany him. This part we could see later on. I will show some in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, when all Brahma, along with all the demigods, he visited Golok Vrindavana. At that time, Krishna says, and Narayana comes from the Vaikuntha in his chariot, and then keeping the chariot aside, he enters into the body of Krishna, and then Vishnu also enters into the body of Krishna there. And then later on, Krishna speaks. When I'm in Dwaraka, so Narayana will carry out the activities in Dwaraka. Likewise, Krishna says that statement. It comes from Brahma Vaivarta Purana. So that's just a small thing here. In the Sri Krishna Janma Kanda, in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, so there is a description of Goloka. So there, so Brahma says, Brahma and all demigods, there is a beautiful description of Goloka Vrindavan, how it is. There are 6 gates of Goloka Vrindavan. While entering, they crosses all the gates and crossing 16th gate where the Radharani palace is there. At that time, they see Krishna. So for initially they will see only effulgence. But later on, after the prayers of Brahma and everyone, the Lord, he takes away that effulgence. So that Krishna says that particular statement. Okay, let me just I wanted to show that particular one. So here and so all there are 16 entrance gates which were decorated with beautiful fine garments, purified fire. Okay, so this is further, and then okay. So this is the conversations between Narada Muni and Narayana Rishi. So Narayana Rishi is explaining all these things to um, Narada Muni. Of course, I think I don't find that one, but I'll come to you later on. But these are the statements. Krishna says to Brahma that one. So it is the pre-plan, how the pastimes of Krishna is going to happen on the earth. So his plenary portions accompany him. When he appeared as son of Vasudeva, there were differences of opinion about his incarnation. Some said he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Some said he is the incarnation of Narayana. And others said he is the incarnation of Kshirodak Sai Vishnu, but actually he is the original supreme personality of Godhead. Krishna is the Bhagavan Swayam, and Narayana is the Purusha and all other incarnations that accompany him to function as different parts of his pastimes. This is explained in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana to support this statement. This is what Mahadamsha Yuktaha indicates that he is accompanied by the Purushas. This has the three Purushas who understands the Vishnostu Trini Rupani Purushakyam Anyita Viduhu Ekam tu Jagasrastuhu Dvitiyam Twanda Samsitam Trutiyam Sarvabhotastam Tam Jnatva Vimuchyate. So, like, who understands these three Vishnus? One is the Karnodaksaya Vishnu, second one is the Twanda Samsitam Garbhodaksaya Vishnu, third one is the Sarvabhota, who is existing in the all the living entities as the super soul. The three Kshirodaksaya Vishnu. Who understands these three Vishnus, they'll be freed from the material world. So that is coming from Brahmasmriti Purana as well. And then further, it is confirmed in the Vedic comments, Mahantam Vibhum Atmanam. And then further, Prabhupada is explaining about Lord Krishna appeared just like electricity when there was friction between Kamsa and Vasudeva and Ugrasena. Okay, so this is again the past time. Krishna, as he is compared to the sun. He first appeared from the ocean of the womb of Devaki, and gradually he satisfied inhabitants of the place surrounding Mathura, just as the sun enlivens the lotus flower in the morning. Okay, so this is what Dava was mentioning to Vidura, that everyone in the Dwaraka, that Prabhasa Kshetra, they have left. So at the time, before he speaks further, he is saying that our sun is set, Krishna. Okay, and then that is from that verse. So that is Svashanta Rupeshu Itaraihi Swarupaihi Abhyattamaneshu Anukampitatma Paravaresho Mahadamsha Yukto hi Ajopi Jato Bhagwan Yatagnihi. Okay, so and also here devotees, the whatever the way they are Tvam Bhakti Yoga Paribhavita Prutsaroja Aste so there Yajjadhyatu Gurughai Vibhavayanti Tadhadvapuhu Pranise Sadanugrahaya. Devotees, whatever the form they wanted to see, the Lord will bestow the benediction in the similar form. Tadhadvapuhu Pranise Tadanugrahaya. So that is Shvashantarupeshu Itaraihi Swarupaihi Abhyardamaneshu Anukampitatma Paravareshu Mahadamshayukto hi Ajopi Jato Bhagavan Yatagnihi. Okay, so we shall move to the next verse. What else is Uddhava is saying to Vidura? Mam kedayeti etad ajasya janma vidambhanam yad vasudeva gehe vrajeta vasu aribhayat iva swayam puradhyavasit yad ananta viryaha. Mam kedayeti etad ajasya janma. So I am it gives me Mam kedayeti, it gives me the distress. Etad ajasya, and Krishna, though he is the unborn, ajasya janma, he doesn't have any birth, but still Mam kedayeti Etat ajasya janma vidambhanam. It is very bewildering. Vidambhanam. Yad Vasudeva gehe. In the home of Vasudeva, the Lord has appeared. Even though he doesn't have birth, but still he appeared in the home of Vasudeva gehe. Yad Vasudeva gehe. Vrajecha vaso. And in Vrindavan also, he lived, inhabitation, Vasaha. And then later on, he appeared in the Vasudeva's home, and then he went to Vrindavan. Vrajecha vaso. Aribhayat iva swayam. Aribhayat. Ari is the enemy, Bhayat, because of the fear, iva, swayam himself. Purat vyavasit. Purat, from Madhurapuri, vyavasit, he fled. Yad Anantaviryaha, though he is the unlimitedly powerful, one who is unlimited. Yad Anantaviryaha. So, Mam Kediyati, Yetad Ajasya Janma Vidambhanam Yat Vasudeva Gehe, Vrajecha Vaso Aribhayat Iva Swayam Purad Vyavasit Yad Anantaviryaha. So, translation for this verse. When I think of Lord Krishna, how he was born in the prison house of Vasudeva, although he is unborn, how he went away from his father's protection to Vraja and lived there incognito out of fear of the enemy, and how, although unlimitedly powerful, he fled from Madhura in fear. All these bewildering incidents give me distress. Mam Kedayati. So, purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Because Lord Krishna is the original person from whom everything and everyone has emanated. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha mattah sarvam pravartate. And then Janmadhyasya yataha from the Vedanta Sutra 112. And nothing can be equal to or greater than him. The Lord is supremely perfect. And whenever he enacts his transcendental pastimes as a son, a rival, or an object of enmity, he plays the part so perfectly that even pure devotees like Uddhava are bewildered. For example, Uddhava knew perfectly well that Lord Sri Krishna is eternally existent and can neither die nor disappear for good. Yet, he lamented for Lord Krishna. All these events are perfect arrangements to give perfection to his supreme glories. It is for enjoyment's sake. When a father plays with his little son and the father lies down on the floor as if defeated by the son, it is just to give the little son pleasure and nothing more. Because the Lord is all powerful, it is possible for him to adjust opposites such as birth and no birth, power and defeat, fear and fearlessness. A pure devotee knows very well how it is possible for the Lord to adjust opposite things, but he laments for the non devotees who, not knowing the supreme glories of the Lord, think of him as imaginary simply because there are so many apparently contradictory statements in the scriptures. Factually, there is nothing contradictory. Everything is possible when we understand the Lord as the Lord and not as one of us, with all our imperfection. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So here in this particular verse, so Uddhava, he is saying to Vidura that Mam Kedhayati, I'm feeling distress because the Lord, even though he is unborn, he appeared in the home of Vasudeva, and these activities are bewildering to me. And he was taken to the Vrindavana later on, and Adibhaya Divasvayam Pura Vyavasat Yad Anantiviryaha. So how he has fled from the Madura in the fear of. So this is in the small pastime with the when Jarasandha was attacking Madura number of times, already 17 times, though Krishna defeated him. On 18th time, he came back again, Jarasandha, on one side with all his military phalanxes, and one side Yavana king. So at that time, Krishna, so first of all, he wanted to um, handle the Yavana king. Kalayavana. So at that time, he took him while he was walking on foot. He led the Kalayavana to the forest cave where the Muchkunda was sleeping in his deep slumber. At that time, he led him there, and then Kalyavana was burnt to ashes by the Muchkunda there. And later on, Krishna blessed Muchkunda, and then that is one way. And then coming back to Mathura, here Jarasandha is waiting again with so much of his military at the time. Krishna and Balrama, they thought, Jarasandha thought that Krishna and Balrama were very much afraid of his military strength and were fleeing the battlefield. What Krishna did, so Lord Krishna wanted to save Madura from the 18 attack of the great military divisions of King Jarasandha. So to prevent further killing of soldiers and to attend to other important business, Lord Krishna left the battlefield without fighting. So actually he was not at all afraid, but he pretended to be ordinary human being frightened by the immense quality of soldiers, resources of Jarasandha. So without any weapons, Krishna left the battlefield. Although his lotus feet were as soft as the petals of a lotus flower, he proceeded for a very long distance on foot. So by looking at that, Jarasandha thought Krishna and Balrama were very much afraid of his military strength and were fleeing the battlefield. So later on, Krishna and Balarama, they have climbed up onto the Pravarshana mountain, and on top of from there, they jumped 88 miles, and then they just reached to Dwaraka. But Jarasandha thought that they have hidden somewhere, and then he put a fire there, and he thought that they might have died in the fire. Likewise, Jarasandha satisfied himself, and he went to. But later on, when Krishna he reached to Dwarka, there he has got a very important business, that is Rukmini Devi's. Okay, that's why here that is the pastime. So here the afraid Krishna and Balrama, it looks like they were afraid, but actually they are not afraid. They have got another business. So here, Uddhava is saying that Mam kedayati etad yad ajasya janma vidambhanam. So these bewildering things are giving me pain. Likewise, Uddhava is saying. And then here Prabhupada is mentioning that from Krishna everything up comes, the spiritual and the material world, everything, all the worlds. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha mattah sarvam pravartite iti matva bhajante mam bhudabhava samanvitaha. Who understands that they will engage themselves in the devotional service of the Lord. And then janmadyasyataha anvayat itarasha. So many other things beginning from the birth. जन्माद्यस्यतः यतोऽन्वयात् इतरस्यार्धे स्वविघ्नस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजोवारिमृदां वद तेजोवारिमृदां यदा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि. Who is Satyam Param Dhimahi, from whom everything appears, Janmadyasyatah. That Lord is the Mattah Param Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya. Nothing can be equal to or greater than him. Mattah Param Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya. Nothing beyond me. So Krishna says to Arjuna. The Lord is supremely perfect. And whenever he enacts his transcendental pastimes as a son, a rival, or an object of enmity, he plays the part so perfectly that even pure devotees like Uddhava are bewildered. This is the example Prabhupada is giving, like if the father has got two different children and father is playing like a hide and seek and the child is trying to fight the father and father feels that he is defeated by the child feels so much of happiness, but actually father is all powerful. It is a child play. The Lord's take enjoyment. So the Lord plays his part perfectly. The even pure devotees like Uddhava are bewildered. So this is the very beautiful part. And then the Lord is all powerful, and it is possible for him to adjust opposites such as birth, no birth, anything he can adjust. Everything will be automatically adjusted. A pure devotee knows the Lord is all powerful. He is the Bhagavan means all six opulences in full Swam Suribihi Tattva Bhutsayadha Sada Abhivadharhana Padapetanam Aishwarya Vairagya Yasho Avbhoda Virya Shriya Portam Aham Prapadhye Aishwarya Yasho Vairagya Aishwarya Vairagya Yasho Avbhoda Yasha Avbhoda Avbhoda is that complete knowledge. Yasha all fame. Aishwarya all opulence. Vairagya, all renunciation. Virya, all powerful, strength. Shriya, and all the wealth. So these are different six opulences. Pottam is complete in full. Aham prapadhye. This is Kaddama prayers to Kapildev Bhagavan. So a pure devotee knows very well how it is possible for the Lord to adjust opposite things. But he laments for the non-devotees who not knowing the Supreme. So this is Vidra also तान् सोच्य सोचान् विधोऽनुशोचे हरेः कथयं विमुखानघेन क्षिणोऽधिदेवो निमिषस्त्वेषम् आयुर्वृधावादि गतिस्मृतीनाम्. People, they are bewildered and they are not hearing Krishna Katha. For such kind of people, Vidra is saying, Tan Sochas, I am worrying about those people. So this is the pure devotee. So a pure devotee laments for the non-devotees who not knowing the supreme glories of the Lord. They do not hear to Krishna Katha. So they simply waste their life, all the valuable human life. Ayurvadavadi gati smritinam, because of the loss of smriti, remembrance, the forgetful relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So likewise here, Prabhupada is explaining here, and here further, because why people are bewildered, there are so many contradictory statements in the scriptures. There are 18 Puranas. Each Purana gives different kinds of explanations of glorifying different deities. But that's why people are bewildered. Some people, they go to the Shiva Purana and glorify Shiva is the Lord. Some people go to Devi Bhagavatam and they glorify. But actually, Bhagavad Gita gives the complete knowledge. Srimad Bhagavatam is the matured fruit, which will reconcile everything. Bhagavad Gita reconcile everything. Where Krishna, we need to see the Krishnas in the historical point of view. Krishna has appeared. He has defeated Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Indra, many other, even the Kali and everyone in the battlefield. So, and also he has crossed this material world, the crossing the 7 layers of this universe and entering into the Brahma Jyoti, and where Karnadak Sai Vishnu is also there. So he took Arjuna to Karnadak Sai Vishnu to bring the children of Brahma. He has exhibited all kinds of powers. So there is nothing is lacking to support Krishna's supreme personality of Godhead. But here people, because of little knowledge, and they hear these contradictory statements and get bewildered. But factually, there is nothing contradictory. Everything is possible when we understand the Lord as the Lord and not as one of us with all our imperfections, because we have got imperfect senses, imperfect knowledge. What are the 4 defects? Any devotees can say the 4 defects that humans have? Okay, so this is imperfect senses and make mistakes, tend to cheat, and bewilderment. These are the 4 imperfections of the human. Okay, so that's why they cannot understand Krishna as he is. But actually, there is no contradiction to understand. Everything is there. Okay, so we shall move to the next verse. That is this verse. Mam kedeti etad ajasya janma vidambhanam yat vasudeva gehe vrajecha vaso adibhayad divasvayam purad vyavatit yad anante viryaham. The Lord is, even though he is unlimitedly powerful, he has performed bewildering acts. That's why Uddhava was a bit distressed. And then we shall go to the next verse. धुनोति चेतः स्मरतो मम एतत् यदाह पाद अभिवञ्ज पित्रोः ताताम्भकंसात् गुरुसङ्कितानां प्रसीदतं नो अकृत निष्कृतीनां धुनोति चेतः स्मरतो मम एतत् धुनोति चेतः. So it gives me pain, and here this is again very hot feeling, the mood, the heart. when the son is speaking to the father and mother in a loving affection. Dunoti chetaha smarato mama etad. It gives me pain, chetaha in the heart, smarataha while thinking of mama etad in such a way. Yadaha padu abhivanja pitroho, and Krishna offering his obeisances to his father and mother. Abhivanja worshipping his pitro of the parents. Tatamba kamsad guru sankitanam. Tatamba, Tata, O Vidura, my dear father. Tata, he is saying to Krishna is saying to Tatamba kamsad guru bhayad sankitanam. Krishna is speaking to Vasudeva and Devaki. Tatambha, my dear father and mother. Kamsad Guru Sankitanam. Out of Kamsa's Guru Sankitanam, the great, the fearfulness of those who are afraid of Kamsas, and Tatamba Kamsad Guru Sankitanam, Prasidaram no Akruta Nishkrutinam, and Prasidatam, be pleased with Naha, our Akruta, not executed, Niskritinam, duties to serve you. And whenever Krishna and Balram, they are offering the prayers to his father and mother, saying that because of the fear of Kamsa, and we were very far away in the Vrindavan at that time, we could not get an opportunity to serve you. And that's why he is asking kind of a forgiveness to the burden from the parents. So that is Dunoti Chetaha Smarto Mama Etar Yadaha Pada Abhivanja Pitroho Tatambakam Sad Guru Sankitanam Prasitatam no Akruta Nishkrutinam. That's a translation for this verse. Lord Krishna begged pardon from his parents for their Krishna and Balrama's inability to serve their feet due to being away from home because of great fear of Kamsa. He said, O mother, O father, please excuse us for this inability. All this behavior of the Lord gives me pain at the heart. So whenever Krishna and Balrama says to their parents, at the time Uddhava is remembering, so those words, they are very pleasing. Now I am remembering Krishna. Now remembering Krishna, now I am separated from Krishna. Feeling that separation, that gives me pain. Likewise, Uddhava is saying. And then purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, that's a few words. We'll carry out quickly. Okay, it appears that Lord Krishna and Baladeva were both very greatly afraid of Kamsa, and therefore they had to hide themselves. But if Lord Krishna and Baladeva are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, how was it possible that they were afraid of Kamsa? Is there any contradiction in such statements? Vasudeva, due to his great appreciation for Krishna, wanted to give him protection. He never thought that Krishna was the Supreme Lord and could protect himself. He thought of Krishna as his son. Because Vasudeva was a great devotee of the Lord, he did not like to think that Krishna might be killed like his other children. Morally, Vasudeva was bound to deliver Krishna to the hands of Kamsa because he had promised to turn over all his children. But out of his great love for Krishna, he broke his promise, and the Lord was very pleased with Vasudeva for his transcendental mentality. He did not want to disturb the intense affection of Vasudeva, and thus he agreed to be carried by his father to the house of Nanda and Yashoda. And just to test the intense love of Vasudeva, the Lord Krishna fell down in the waters of Yamuna while his father was crossing the river. Vasudeva became mad after his child as he tried to recover him in the midst of the rising river. So these are all glorified pastimes of the Lord, and there is no contradiction in such manifestations. Since Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he was never afraid of Kamsa, but to please his father, he agreed to be so. And the most brilliant part of his supreme character was that he begged pardon from his parents for being unable to serve their feet while absent from home because of fear of Kamsa. The Lord, whose lotus feet are worshipped by demigods like Brahma and Shiva, wanted to worship the feet of Vasudeva. Such instruction by the Lord to the one is quite appropriate. Even if one is the Supreme Lord, one must serve his parents. A son is indebted to his parents in so many ways, and it is the duty of the son to serve his parents, however great the son may be. Indirectly, Krishna wanted to teach the atheists who do not accept the supreme fatherhood of God, and they may learn from this action how much the supreme father has to be respected. Uddhava was simply struck with wonder by such glorious behavior of the Lord, and he was very sorry that he was unable to go with him. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So here again, the pastime of Krishna. So whenever Krishna was born with all the ornaments and helmet and having the four hands, everything, and Vasudeva and Devaki, they have prayed to the Lord. And then Lord spoke that, oh Devaki and Vasudev, so you are my parents previously, like a Sutapa and Prushni and Kashyapa and Aditi. Now you are born as the Vasudeva and Devaki. So now this is my third time as a child appearing in your womb. Likewise, he gave those words. That's why, in order to prove that he has appeared in that form, in a four-handed form with all the jewels. And then on the prayers of Vasudeva, Krishna turned himself as a normal child, two-handed form child. And then on the instruction of Krishna, so Vasudeva took Krishna to Vrindavan, where Yogamaya is born in the home of Yashoda. So, and then Krishna, as per instruction, so when he was taking, so here Prabhupada mentions that when Krishna was taken, at the time he was fell in the water as well. And then um, to test the intense love of Vasudeva, Lord Krishna fell down in the waters of Yamuna while his father was crossing the river. This is the beauty of it. So we see the love of gopis and Radharani. Many people who are come in contact with Krishna, uh, bhayat bheshad. So kamat dveshad bhayat kamat krodhat bhayat bheshad yata bhakteshware manaha tadakam hitva. So many people they have tadagham hitva, and then they have attained the Lord's nature. Whatever the way they have got either anger or enviousness or loving or the friendship, everyone they have attained the nature of the Lord later on. Okay, so Tadgatim Gataha. So all the people they have got the Tadgatim, Krishna's abode, many people. So this is the beauty of Krishna's and the loving relationship between the parents and the children. And one has to respect his parents, especially because they are the living deities to the child. It doesn't matter if the child is 90 years and father is 110 years. Still, father is worshipable for him in all times and circumstances. Okay, so likewise, Prabhupada is explaining, and Krishna is showing personally as a example here. Pramanam, Sait Pramanam Kurite, Lokaha tad anuvartate, Yad Yadacharaha Sreshtaha tad tad devo, tad tad deva itaro naraha. Sait Pramanam Kurite, Lokaha tad anuvartate. All people will follow the great person's example. Likewise, Krishna has established everything, giving the instructions in the Bhagavad Gita and performing pastimes which are in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Whoever hears those pastimes, they will get relieved from this material world. Yasyam Vaishvayamayanam Krishne Paramapurushe Bhaktirutpadyate Pumsaha Shoka Moha Bhayapaha, completely relievement from the lamentation and then illusion and fearfulness. So that is, he performed such activities. जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम या एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नैति मांसोति Arjuna. So he says, whoever hears and understands tatpataha, they will be freed from, they do not get another material birth in this material world. So that in such a way he performed activities as well. So that is the behavior of the Lord, such glorious behavior of the Lord. So and Uddhava is remembering all Krishna's pastimes and relationship with him. And Uddhava is a person न तथा मे प्रीतम आत्मयोनिषु न शङ्करः न च श्रीः न सङ्कर्षणु न श्रीः न एवात्मा च यथा भवान्. O Uddhava, I do not like even Brahma, Shiva, Sankarsana, Lakshmi, or even myself than you. and such a relationship I have with you, O Uddhava. And now Uddhava is remembering such a relationship with Krishna, and now he was very sorry that he was unable to go with him. That is the Uddhava's mood. So likewise, Prabhupada is explaining here. And here, Dunoti Chetaha Smarato Mama Etad Yadaha Pada Abhivandya Pitroho Tatambakam Sad Bursinkitanam Prasidatam No Akruta Nishkrutinam. Likewise, Uddhava is saying, so I stop here. So apologies a few minutes late. I request dear devotees, if you have got any questions or you wanted to add anything or any corrections, kindly add or kindly share or kindly raise questions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, my question is, just wanted to understand who is Devi Subhadra's mother and what happened to Yog Maya?
Okay, so Subhadra's here in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we don't see so far. I have not seen who is the actual mother of. It could be either Devaki or Rohini. So which I think, but I have not seen the actual mother. And that is one side. And Yoga Maya. So Subhadrama is the wife of Arjuna, and she is Yoga Maya. And also, when the daughter was born to Yashodama, so she is Yoga Maya.
And
So
Yog Maya is Devi Durga also, no? She is referred
yes,
as Yog Maya.
yes. So Durgama is all her expansions. And the other day we were reading in the Brahmavaivarta Mahapurana, the glories of Prakriti.
Yeah.
So she expands herself into so many forms. The Moola Prakriti is the Radharani, and then the further expansions are Lakshmi Devi, Saraswati, Savitri, and Durga. These are the five Prakritis. And Durga Ma, so she expand when she is in the spiritual, she is Yoga Maya, and also Radharani. Radharani is the Moola Prakriti. And then in the material world, she acts in the order of Krishna, like born as the daughter of Yashodama. And then likewise, later on, so to make the relationship with Krishna, so Subhadra, so Krishna made an arrangement that Arjuna married to Subhadra in such a way, Arjuna and Krishna became, and once more, the more relatives, close relatives, already relatives with the Vasudeva and Kunti Devi, and then later on, Krishna's sister Subhadra, again Yoga Maya, who makes the Arjuna and Krishna more dearer, more closer again. Yoga Maya means bringing the soul nearer to Krishna. That is the energy of the Lord.
Okay, thanks, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Amogha Guru, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I just have a question not related to today's verses. Vasudev, he wrote the whole Bhagavatam. And then, Shukadev Goswami came much later because he was born of Vasudev. But did Vasudev wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam before Shukadev Goswami arrived? Or when was the Bhagavatam? I know Narad Muni asked him to write the Srimad Bhagavatam. Then when did Shukadev Goswami, because when Shukadev Goswami started speaking Bhagavatam, then Vyasdev showed up to all the sages when he arrived, Parikshit was there. And he said, this is my son. So how this setup of the Bhagavatam happened? Because Shukadev Goswami and Vyasdev is still writing about with Shukadev in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm just trying to find the connection, the sequence.
So here it is sequence is it happened even after Suta Goswami he spoke to
Naimisharanya.
Yeah, that is further down. And after that, Vyasadeva has composed Srimad Bhagavatam. But of course, the Bhagavatam was spoken before itself, but compiled later on.
Uh-huh. But it was written by, no, I know Bhagavatam was there before, but
Yes,
then
Bhagavatam, it is Brahmane Bhagat Proktam Brahma Kalpa Upagate. In the Brahma Kalpa itself, the Srimad Bhagavatam was there in the beginning of Brahma's time. And then that Brahma got from again Chatushloki Bhagavatam and Brahma gave it to Narada Muni. So this Bhagavatam is always existed.
yeah.
Yes, and it was spoken by through the word, through the sound vibrations.
Mm.
But here, Vyasadeva has compiled after Suta Goswami recited Bhagavatam to the Savanakadijas. Later on, he compiled it into the literature as a book.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you for clarifying. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, any other questions? Okay, if there are no more questions, then we shall conclude our session. Thank you so much, dear devotees. A moment of devotees association is not even comparable to the liberation. So thank you so much for giving your association and making me to speak few words.
So much for your association. You're such a wonderful devotee. The way you know the Srimad whole Bhagavatam is just amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm just learning Mataji as a student, hearing from the devotees here, like Vrindavan Chandra Prabhuji and Kauringi Mataji. They're all inspiration, Prag Prabhuji and Shyam Hari Prabhu. They're all inspirations to me. So learning from them and just
You're very kind and very humble. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. पञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
हरे कृष्ण
अनन्तकोटिवैष्णववृन्द की जय।
जय
श्रील प्रभुपाद की
Krishna. Thank
जय
you, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
प्रभु जी फॉर द नेक्स्ट क्लास
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण।